Okay, guys. Okay, let me come a little closer. Let me come a little closer and bring this a little closer for you. All right. So, okay, guys. So today I get some question about this bust measurement, right? Get a lot of question about this bust measurement. So today I decided to do a live for you guys for show you guys about talk about the bust measurement, the taking of it, and how we gonna deal with that. So welcome back to my channel. My name is Tamara of Tamara Fashion Style. If this is your first time here, thanks for dropping by and thanks for coming back. Right now, if you want to learn to sew for beginners, I have an online website. Let me just put it in the chat. Give me a second. Let me see if I can get it in the chat for you guys. Let me see if I can get it and just put it in this chat. Just give me a second. Share the live if you guys wish. This live you might is all about the bust measurement. If you have large bust or you have small bust, because I get a lot of question about this bust. So let me just put this in the chat for you. So I'll put my the website in the chat here for you. Let me see if I can put it below here. Right, so I'll put it in the chat for you. So if you want to know more about this bust measurement, right, so I just send it in the chat there. So we're talking about the bust measurement. As I said, I get a lot of question about this bust measurement for who have large bust, who have small bust, right? Now I have my upper body more smaller than my lower body. I have small bust. I encounter like sewing for people with bigger bust. It's a you have to know to fit these people, right? So I get some question about the bust point. They want to know how we to find this bust point. I get some question about the shoulder and so on. Now, for learn more about the basic bust bodice, I have some classes on Tamara Fashion Styles, which I just put a link in the video there. You can go to my website and check it out where I teach you for sew from beginners step by step. You know your girl would cover everything. So check out my website, it's in the link, and you will see some classes on it. And those are for beginner or for who want to refresh their sewing skills, right? So now let's get into the bust. So when we're talking about bust measurement, now everybody have different size of bust, right? Everybody bust different, everybody shape different, right? So I get a question for people with big bust. How to find a bust point? Now the bust point is simple. Let me draw back. Is your two nipple from one end of your nipple to the next end of the nipple between here, right? I have this mannequin here. Let me bring it a little closer for you. So I have this mannequin here, and you see this mannequin have the two lines here, right? Which is the princess line that is right on the bust point. So all you need to do is grab your measuring tape. Let me just bring the camera down a little. All you need to do when you measure, I will measure it on the mannequin and then measure it on me, is get your measuring tape, one end of the where your nipple is to the next end, your next nipple, right? So between here is your bust point. So whatever you get between here, this is where you're going to divide in two, right? This is the bust point here. So place your dart, right? To place the dart here, or you place the dart under the bust. You know some pattern have this bust dart right here, right? Or the bust dart or the waist dart. This is what we divide in, forget this dart. So let me do it on me. So you get the measuring tape, the measuring tape here, and the next one here, right? So let me say my own is 8.5 inches, right? So my own is 8.5 inches. So I will divide that in two. So if I get 8.5 inches and I divide it in two, now I'm gonna take the half and I'm gonna put it from a dart, right? The waist darty. Now people with big bust, right? Sometimes according to what the person says that below this party, she have a lot of fabric gathering up below here, or sometimes it's too tight. Now, how I measure my when people with large bust, if I have a school for somebody who have like the bust is like 42, let me say the bust is 42, 44, 46, right? And we know that is people with very large busts. Now, some people will just put the measuring tape here and they'll pull the measuring tape straight down to the waist. Now, you pull that measuring tape straight down to the waist here, it have a lot of fabric between here, right? So you would get this gathering between here because you didn't walk the measuring tape, you pull it right down, right? So for avoid this gathering between here, you would take your measuring tape, put it to your bust point here. Let me say my bust point is 10, right? Put it to my bust point here. Now I would lose the top here. The reason why I lose the top is because remember, I get it from my shoulder to my bust, right? So I already get this measurement from my shoulder to my bust, which is 10. Now I need the under bust measurement, which I would walk this measuring tape under here. I would walk it under here so I could get the right amount of fabric for sit here, right? So I would walk it there and then I would hold it here and then walk it to the waist. So my waist would end up being like 16 inches for the length rather than just holding the measuring tape and you just pull it right down. So you pull in the measuring tape right down, so it's either you get a lot of fabric under here, right? Now for people with, sometimes some people said it's too tight, right? We have to check between this area here. You never notice like people with large butt, right? When they walk in the skirt, the front always longer than the back. Is because, let me for instance, for this area here, from here to under here, right? It have a different measurement. So what I would do, like for this here, for sit down properly, like for don't have this tightness in the top. What I would do, I would split the pattern between here, right across here by the bust, and I would open it up, like get a little room. You see, when you designing, right? When you're designing, you have to know how to um extend these pattern, like enlarge them, um we call it grade them down, grade them up. And especially people with big bust, they have a lot of fitting to do, because I remember sewing for somebody with a large bust is not like sewing somebody who have for somebody who have a small bust, a small waist, and a small hip. No, if you have a person like 46 bust, right? The measurement is 40. Let me say we work with a 46 inches bust. You're working with a let me say a 36 inches waist, and let me say you're working with the hip measurement is like 50, right? So we working with the top big and the bottom big, but in between here small, right? So you have to learn to fit this area. That's why I always, when I sewing for people with big bust, I would call them over for fitting, or what I would do, I buy a plus size dress form. You could buy the plus size dress form, the one with the dial, where you could extend it to your measurement, or you could buy one like this. Now, buying one like this, you can extend this. This go by size. Let me say this one I have is a half size of me, right? But still, the half size of me is the bust area. So when I doing a design for me, I have to pad here, I have to pad the waist. But the bust is okay for me, right? So you're working with this 46. So get a plus size mannequin. Let me say if you're doing designing, or you have a tailor business or a sewing business, right? Or you're a seamstress. I always advise people, buy the mannequin with the dial. We put dial up to the size, or right, and you cut out the fabric for the person. Once you get the measurement, you put the measurement, you put in the ease in the pattern, right? I always cut the pattern a little bigger. Let me say I work with a 46 bust measurement. I always do the bust 47, right? So I could take it in and fit them to what I need, right? So what I do with big bust people, I would cut out the pattern and I'd put it on the mannequin, set the dial to the measurement of the person, right? And then I would place the pattern on to place the fabric where I cut out from the pattern onto the mannequin, and then I take into suit. What I do with the clothes, I would base it. I don't stitch it up right away. I do a base stitch where I could take it into this size. Now, with big boss people, sometimes you have to have a dart running right here, right? It better forgive them like Princess Seam. I find people with big boss, their clothes look better in Princess Seam because remember, let me say you design your pattern and you make one straight pattern, like just you cut out the center, front on to the fold, right? You have this kind of gap between it, like between it kind of tight, right? So you have this tightness between it. So I always advise people with big bust, I prefer to give them like the princess seam. They look better inside, right? It fit them better because at that point you would get to take up into the princess seam, take up the excess, right, fabric that you have, or let out the excess fabric that you have to suit. Whereas if you cut the pattern on a fold, right, and let me say hair kind of too tight, what would you do with that? You have to add maybe a button lapel, to give you the space, right? So for big boss people, I always advise do princess seam with your clothes, right? If you do the princess seam, you mightn't have to do the dart at the side here because I remember sewing the dress for the young woman. If I find the dress, I might put it up. So what I would do, I would take up here, right? And it give you a nice finish, especially for people with big bust. You take it up, and this thing give you a nice finish. It does look good, I tell you. When you call them for a fitting and you start to fit this stuff on them. Always, if you got a plus size person for sofa, always cut out the fabric, right? The style that they want, and what you need to do, or what you need to call them in for a fitting. Base the clothes before they come. You could base like the two sides, right? You base the arm, the shoulder here, base on a basic zipper, right? So that when the person come, you could see how it fit them. So by basing the plus size clothes, right, you would get to able to take in or lose out whatever you need to do, right? With the princess seam, if I do a princess seam dress for like a plus size person, I always base, even the princess seam, I always base it right down, right? So that they could get a nice fit. Because remember with plus size now, you don't want the bust too tight. You don't want the look too strong and too stuff and too tight in the clothes. You want a nice relaxed fit so they could move up and down, even with the sleeve, right? Plus size people up top hair tends to be thick for them. So this is the bust area, right? So definitely you gotta get the arm, right? You gotta get the arm measurement so you could know how much you drop, right? The arm, so that they could get a nice relaxed fit, so that they could lift the arm, right? And next thing I like to do, I like to base on the sleeve. Now, everybody measure different, right? But for me, for plus size people, if I have to make a sleeve for them, I prefer for the fold the hand like this. So you can get the thickness of the arm, right? Whereas some people would let it put the arm down here and you take the measurement. Now you put in your arm down here for take the measurement. You won't get a right measurement because remember, if you for lift your arm, you didn't take the measurement for this span here, right? Because I would show you something. Plus size people is a lot of fitting for them. So if I put my arms down like this, the measurement gonna be different to when I fold my arm, right? So this measurement here is 14 with my arm down like this. Now if I fold my arm like this measurement here is 16. You understand? So I would always prefer to work with the larger measurement for a plus size person. Because when they tends to like do so with the arm, then you don't want it close to bust, right? With the bust, you don't want if they're for stretch, you hear pop, thread bust, a big hole there. So with plus size people, to me, I prefer the princess seam would suit you perfect. You always see to me princess seam for people with big bust. They look more they look more nice than just this big square top, right? And for plus size people, especially with bust, to make your bust look smaller, that's what they taught me in when I was doing my course, right? Always for people who have big bust, always use like dark color on the top, right? So let me say you have a 46 inches bust. You want your bust to look smaller, right? Use dark color in the top. You can use like a brown, you can use like a navy blue, you can use like a dark red, you can use like a black, you can use like an army green or the olive green, you know. If you is a plus size in the top, let me say you have big bust, you have big arm, you know, your stomach, you have big stomach, always use the dark color from up top here to your waist. So, and you could put the bright color, let me say your hip small, right? Let me say you have a small hip, your upper part of your body larger than your bottom part of your body. I would advise you use bright color in the bottom and you use dark color in the top. The reason why is because the first thing people see, right, when they see you coming, whoa, she was big boy. That's the first thing they see. And she put on this bright top, you see how she was big? No, you're looking for thing for the eyes. When you wear the dark color in the top, especially if you're a plus size, you have a big bust, the eyes will come out for your bust, right? They would more focus on the bright color. That's the first thing they're going to see, right? They're going to see the bright color in the bottom there and say, oh, you see how the skirt chair have a nice. Sometimes the top pretty, but then you're looking at the top because it's in a dark color. So they won't see how big your bust is, right? The most that what the eyes would focus on is the bright color in the bottom, right? So for keep your people eyes off people who have big bust, always wear a bright color in the bottom, right? So for plus size, that is my advice. Take your clothes, base it, force, right? Don't sew it down because let me tell you, you see seam ripper is my best friend and plus my worst enemy. I don't like to rip out clothes, right? So I would base down the clothes for a plus size person and let them come and have the fit. Or if you sewing for yourself, you're a plus size person, base your clothes down, put a base and a zip on it, right? Yeah, your machine have the long stitch. You could base base this the zipper on it and go and try on the clothes. Now, when you try on your clothes, right, it give you could able to see where the problem is, right? So let me say if you try on your clothes and you notice, that's why I always say make princess see me your clothes. And let me say you try on your clothes as a plus size and here kind of a little biggie. You don't want to pull it from the side because here gonna become tight, right? Because sometimes it didn't have enough room here for the side. Or sometimes you pull it and it have this gather like in the front here. You don't want that. So always split. Make your pattern with the two seam so that you can take up the amount as you go, as you could stand in a mirror. When I fit in myself, I have two mirrors, right? I have one in front and I have one in the back of me, right? So I could see how the back look and I could see how the front look. My front of my clothes always look better than the back, right? The reason why is because my back, I have this kind of sink like in my back. So my back would come like this and then it gone down like with this sink. I forget what they call this, this kind of back we just have. But I have this kind of back. So with my clothes, what I have to do, forget because in the back of my clothes, right? With the back with this, it always have this amount of fabric in the back, right between this area here. You see how this vest here fit in here? I always have this problem between here with this area here. So you see the amount of fabric there? That's how I just get this here, all this here. So you would never find me sewing a straight dress, right, without a waist seam. That's why I tell you for plus size people with big bust, make princess seam. It's better for you and you will get a better fitting. So for me with my back, it's just like with a person with a big bust, right? You have all this fabric gather right here, right between here. So if I get rid of this fabric here, I must have a waist seam here. My dress cannot be a straight dress, right? You just cut a straight dress like that. The only way I'd avoid the problem is if I cut like a we call these dresses we Guyanese we just say baby doll. I don't know if is baby doll, yeah, this guy, but you know it have some thin dress, yes, a thin dress, but we just say baby doll, right? So for I get rid of that, I would have to cut like my dress in a thin dress, right? With way more the top can be tight, it have to get a little room, and then I would place it with a belt for get rid of this bigness in the waist in the back. Now, if I for make like a flare dress, right? You know this circle dress that us have? I have to have a waist seam. My dress have to be in the two piece so I could come and join the waist. So let me say this is my back here, and I have this sink right here below the waist here I have. So I have a lot of fabric below it. So what I have to do, so remember, this is my bust here, right? So when I measure my bust down, remember the front to your bust, right? The front gonna be different to the back, right? Remember the back don't have any bust, right? The back don't have bust. The back is just a flat. It either it here got more meat or you're gone in. So the front your pattern would always be different than the back. And with some people, sometimes the back does be different as well, right? So I measure in my bust. So I go measure down, hold my measuring tape, come down, right here, then bring it to the waist, right? So my waist drop here. Now some people say your waist is at your belly button. That is not true for everybody because I telling you, if I let me stand up and show you. If I put my waist at my belly button, trust me, this clothes won't look good. Let me say I have this measuring tape here. And now look, this is where my waist is, right? I can just tie it for you. Let me say my waist here, right? Now if my waist there here, now look how my clothes gonna look in the back. It kind of make it look square. You understand? I don't like this look. So if you could see where the measuring tape is, you see right here how I shape. So my clothes right here, you see they say have to sharpen. So for it fit properly. So my waist would be here. This is my waist right here. Right here. See your part of the sink here? Right here. So if I turn around, you see how the clothes look better? Look far better than quite down here. So this is where my waist would sit, right? So I'm going to show you something in the back. It's similar to the person with the bust. So you see? So my back of my top shorter than the front. So it's the same with big bust people. Your front gonna always be longer because remember you have bust in front, right? So when you have this bust in front, you have to cater for the amount of fabric. So your bust can't be the same with the back. Whereas in some people, let me tell you, everybody shape different. So in some case, some people back sometimes may be longer than the front, right? But for big bust people, for me, in most case, like people who have large bust, in most case, to me, their front always longer than the back. And you would always find sometime the clothes folding up or the clothes pulling. It's like if you buy a bra, right? Because let me say you buy a bra and you put this bra on for people who have huge busts. You never notice like the back of the bra, they're quite up in the neck here. The back of the bra pulling up quite up here. The reason why is because the bra in wasn't designed for them, right? So you have to get a proper fitting, like for this thing come and fit nice. Because remember, you boss, you have a large bust. Your clothes have to cut different than a small bust person, right? Sewing for me, Mike, I just tell people not everybody could sew for me. I have to sew my clothes for myself, and especially if you as a seamstress, there is nobody could fit you. I and a lot of seamstress and tailor could relate to this. When you sew your own clothes, nobody else could fit you. Only you self could fit yourself. Don't care who sew for you. It's like you're never pleased with these clothes because you're always finding fault. Even when you go in the store for buy clothes, you'll always find a seamstress or a tailor loosen out these clothes to design it how they want. You just buy the clothes in. But you find when you put it on, you don't find you like how it fit. You find it, you don't like the style, you don't like how it fit you, you would lose that clothes on and you would fit it back to suit you. Right? So the same thing with big boss people. Do princess seam in your clothes. All right? Always make your clothes with the princess seam running down. You see, like how these mannequin here have this seam here, right? You see right here? Make your clothes with this seam here so you can get to take up this bust here. You can remember you have the bust spine between here and between here, right? And sometimes you have between here tight. So make it with this princess seam. When you come to the side, always left. That's why when I draft in my pattern, I always draft it bigger than my size. So let me say my bust is at 37. I would put my bust like for 38. So I know I have enough room because sometimes, let me say, you draft the top for plus size with, let me say, a 48 bust measurement. And then you only cater, you draft it direct to the measurement plus to the ease, right? But you never notice when you put the top on, it never reach the waist at the side here. It never reach the waist at the side here. Sometimes it reach the arm here, but you have to pull it for reach the waist here and then it come off the green. So I always make it bigger, or what you can do, you see they have the line running in the print. Say you could measure between here and here, right? Let me say your measuring tape. You could measure between here and between this waist here to get this section here. So when you drop the pattern and you cut out the top, it could meet, right? So it's like you stand up here and you measure, let me say my princess seam running down here, right? So I would get a mark and I would put a mark right here. And then I would take the measuring tape and I would measure from here to under my arm right here, right? You measure under your arm here. So you could get this extra inches onto your pattern so that when you fit the plus size person, you have extra fabric, you understand, for bring it to the waist. Because most time, in most cases, sometimes you finish, fit up the clothes and you short a piece of fabric at the waist. So for plus size people, take your time, measure yourself, measure your bust. If you have to add ease, add ease. You understand? Old people always say, measure twice, cut once, right? It's always better to cut the clothes bigger than smaller. When you cut it bigger, you could always take out. When you cut it smaller, there is nothing you can do with a fabric, right? So for plus size people, I advise make princess seam with your dress, right? Or your top or whatever you're making. If you're making a full size top, like you know them circle top will fit large, right? You just cut a hole in the neck, you cut two thing and you put it on and you sew it up nice and it flare out, no problem. But if you are going with a straight top or a straight dress, you need to put princess seam into your dress, right? So the bust point we're measuring what somebody asked me about is from one nipple to the next nipple. You divide this in two, right, to get your waist dart or the dart here. Now, from the dart and the hair, what I do for get this dart and the hair, I will divide this measurement here, right? You divide this measurement, right? I think is either divided into, I can't remember, but I just divide this measurement here to get this dart here. I would measure down like 1 inch from my arm hole here, right? And I place a mark here, and then I measure the dart here, how much ever I want. So let me say you divide in the measurement you get in two, I would put divide it in half and half. So I put an inch here and then I bring it out to the bust, right? So when I ready to sew, they for the plus size, I have a bust dart to take in. So it gives them this nice fit, right? Now, if you're doing the princess seam, you don't have to do this dart here. Because remember, you don't have the princess seam where you could take up the rest of excess fabric. But if you don't have this princess seam, always put a dart under here, right? Under your bust here. So it could come and take up the fabric and your bust would look nice. Now, on my website, Tamara Fashion Styles, which I put the link in this chat, check out my website there. I have the basic body stuff, which I teach you all of that. I showed you step by step how to take this bust measurement, how to divide it, how to get this measurement under here, right? All that in the website in the video. As soon as you go on the you go to Tamara Fashion Styles. Remember, not Tamara Fashion Style, tamarafashionstyles.com. As soon as you open the page, you can see my big face there with a picture. You would see the basic bodice, the basic skirt, the basic sleeve. I showed you how to measure for get a sleeve. Every single thing you want to know about your bust spine, your shoulder, your waist, how to work the measuring tape. Go on to the site. You'd have for basic people who want to learn to sew or people who want to learn to draft pattern. Right? I teach you onto my website the basics. So you can go there and you can purchase the classes and you have the classes, right? You can watch it when you want, when you like, right? They have everything basic. Now, on my website, I have a circle dress coming out soon. It have a picture with it. I ain't uploaded yet. I'm still editing the video. That is a dress I wore maybe about 2 weeks ago. So I have the classes coming out for that. I have the pants classes coming out for that, which I'm teaching you from the basic. The pants class, right, would be on my website. I'm trying to see if I could get this website to go into we call it a subscription. So instead of you buying one class, you can subscribe where you can view all the classes, whichever you want to view. I'm still working on that, but all for now, you could buy the classes, but you won't get the subscription because it's not on the website as yet. I'm still working on that, right? So they have to put it on, they have to do the subscription for me. So where you could pay every month, but you're seeing whatever classes you want. But all for now is just a pay button. You pay, you buy your class and you have it, right? So this class have that. I have the pants coming out so far on the website. It have the basic bodice. And this basic bodice, what is on the website is an in-depth basic bodice. It's not just you're just drafting an ordinary bodice, right? On my channel, I show you the quick and easy way how to draft a bodice, right? in the video on the website, it go into details. You would know about the bust spine, everything you need to know. You know, in fashion school, they teach you how to take this neck measurement, right? How to take this neck measurement, how to divide this neck measurement, right? And all these things. So it's an in-depth sewing class I have on my website, right? I show you in depth so you can understand this pattern drafting, how it is. On my YouTube channel here, I just show you the easy and the quick way, right? But the in-depth of this thing, it's a lot. This fashion designing thing and this drafting thing, it have a lot of maths inside, right? It's not just drafting. I just find quick thing and I just show you how you can design your thing quick and easy. But if you want to be like a professional sewer, professional designer, a professional tailor, you have to get it in depth, right? What we YouTubers showing you is just quick and easy. You hear what it name? DIY, right? So we just showing you how to do things quick and easy, but for do in depth, especially where people money is concerned, where you want to sew for people, you want to collect people money, you want to open a business, you want customer for always want you to do their clothes, right? Because I just sew for people, and these customers don't want nobody else sew their clothes in. They prefer I sew their clothes because what they said to me, they get a better fit, right? When I sew their clothes, they could move in it, they get a better fit, they feel good in their clothes, right? So when it comes to sewing with people, especially if, and let me tell you, sewing is a business, right? You can have an income from that, right? And you could have a good income from that. And you could charge whatever you want for your clothing because that is your design, that is your style. You understand? You is the one that designing it, right? Sometimes some customer might come and they tell, I like for me. I have customers come for me for some clothes, and I tell them that is my price and that is my price. If you don't want it, just find somebody else because let me tell you, designing, especially for plus size people, is a lot, lot of work. It's not so designing for plus size people is not like designing for a slim person, right? Plus size people have a lot of fitting. All right. So I just tell them this is my price and this is my price. I'm not dropping my price for no one. I'm not overcharging you. I just charge you. You understand? For what I am doing because sometimes you have to buy the pattern paper. You have to buy the markers. You have to buy all these things, right? And whereas people bring the cloth, they just bring the cloth alone. You have to find the other rest of thing. You have to take night and day to make the clothing. So designing for somebody, and especially if you want, let me say you want to open a plus size um tailor shop or sewing studio or whatever, this thing take a lot of work. So you have to learn to design professionally, right? I go and I study my thing. I take about 4 years studying my my diploma I have now, right? So it take time. I take night and day. Sometimes I had exam, I had thing. Watch my last exam for pass to get my diploma. I say, well, they just need like just a art. They just need to see what you do. Just do up a portfolio with where you how you sew this clothes, what you use, what fabric. I say it's just the basic. No, darling. When I send up that, they flag that. I fail that. You understand? They tell me I can't get the diploma unless I give them exactly what they're looking for. I was mad because I say, look, I send everything. But when you really think about it, remember, they're teaching you to do certain things and you have to come out the best from this school, right? So I sit down, I take my time, I take the person measurement or whoever I'm doing the clothes for. I do my whole portfolio properly how they want it, right? With all the measurement, the fabric I use, the button I use. If I use a pattern or I draft my own pattern, you thread down to the thread and the button and the needle size, all these things. The setting on your machine, how much, what is the setting you use on your machine, how much stitch, how much that, all these things into sewing. You have to know these things. So when I sit down and I design it and I take it properly and I send it up to them, they was pleased. I get my certificate, my diploma, because why? I sit down and I take my time and get to understand. So it's just like sewing for plus size people. You have to know the person body. You have to take your time, measure this person. Watch. Some people, you go to measure. I know I see that for a fact, right? I telling you what I see with my own eyes. Because I go for someone for measure me. That's before I even dream for learn for sew. And they will just measure your boss like this. They'll measure your boss. Then they'll measure your waist. They'll measure your hip. They would measure the length of the skirt or the length of the dress you want, right? They would measure your sleeve. You understand? They would measure if it's your neck, and they don't. That's how I see that they're measuring. But how I learn is in details. I learn to measure. You measure the person's shoulder. You measure the person's neck. You measure the person across front here, right? You measure the person armpit to armpit. You measure the person across bust, and plus you're still coming back and measure from the bust to the side here. Then you measure between here to between here. Then you measure from the shoulder, go down to the bust. Then you measure from the shoulder to the waist. You understand? Then you measure from the waist to the hip. Then from the hip to the we call this, I forget, the hip deck. All these things I learn in details. They ain't doing that. They just run a measuring tape, bust, waist, hip, length, and that is it. To me, I never even see they take this measurement here. I never see they take this measurement here. Right? Up top here have a lot to do with it, because if you just measure here and you measure here, right? Here might be tight. So you have it have a lot. So for plus size people, just take your time, go by someone and learn to measure yourself properly. In my next live, I have a plus size mannequin which I will bring out, and I will show you how to measure yourself, right? How to take the measurement, how to measure, how to write it down. So next Sunday, look out for that video. I will come live, right? So all who want to see that live, just let me know, right? So I can organize how much people we get, so I can show you live how to do this plus size measurement. I have a plus size measurement with people with a large bust, the hip large, and the top. So I will bring it out next Sunday right here in the open space where you can see everything, and I will show you how to measure. All right. So guys, I hope I was able to help you with this plus size measurement. Look out for the next video where I will show you how to measure. Right? So thanks for joining me. I appreciate you guys take the time to be here, and I will see you soon. So enjoy, and you have a wonderful day. And thank you so much for continue following me. Right? So we will see. So enjoy and bye-bye. Take care. And don't forget, check out the website where you will learn to sew the basic, and more classes will be coming every month. So I will see you, and take care later. Bye bye.